It took almost 4 years to get my startup from 0 page views to 500,000 page views per month, but it did not have to take nearly that long. I'm going to explain how we built it up, what you could do better if you were in my position and how I would go about it in the future, and also how much money you actually make from a site that's bringing in those kinds of numbers. So first of all, here's what the site looks like. It is an esports site around the game called Valorant, and it is somewhere that you can pretty much see all the upcoming events, upcoming matches that have been played, all the teams. We literally have over like 150,000 series that we have covered, and it is a staple in the Valorant scene for any competitive viewers. And back in 2020, we actually just started off as a news site, the one that you're looking up here. We just wanted to create something that would show off Valorant news whenever something impactful happened and just get that ad revenue from articles. But being that my co-founder and I were both senior engineers, we decided why not use our coding prowess and actually built something bigger around the site itself. So we went from WordPress to coding this entire site by ourselves, as well as a bunch of other different things, including this CMS, for example, that our entire data team uses to keep track of matches and create and add things onto the actual homepage of the site itself. Now, in our first year, we were only doing around 1,000 page views a month naturally, and sometimes one of our articles would go viral on like Google Trends or on Reddit, and that would bring in like 30,000 page views all at once, but those people wouldn't stick around. They would just read the article and leave. We only really had like 1,000 dedicated users actually using the site. Now, in the second year, we started to grow a lot, and the reason for that is because we launched an analytics platform, and that analytics platform ran through our Discord. So a lot of the people, once they heard about it, chose to join the Discord, and they would use the site in tandem with it. So we started getting around maybe 10 to 20,000 page views a month just from people using it. And because of that, we decided to build more into actually providing analytics for paid users as opposed to creating features on the site, because that was bringing in money immediately, and we had around 20 employees at one time that we had to pretty much afford for. And by the end of all that, we probably hit around 90,000 page views per month going into our third-ish year, and that was on a good month. So anytime there weren't any games or was the off season, pretty much not many people would come to the site. Now, it's worth noting we have almost like 300,000 pages on the site itself, and we did not optimize for SEO back when we first started. I would highly recommend doing that because it was a pain to try and re-optimize all of our pages and everything we had for SEO once we realized that all these pages we had were sort of like bonus that we could use Google to promote for us. So fast forward to the third year, we finally decide to start working on the site again now that the amount of money we were making from analytics sort of topped out, because there's only so many professional teams in a single esport. And once you have almost all of them paying for your service, there's not much more you can get. So we started refactoring the site, making it more SEO friendly, redoing the UI. And one of the biggest things that we added to the site was this over here, which as you can see is sort of just a drop down that allows you to choose a language. We added localization. When ChatGPT first came on, I was one of the first people to try and check it out, and I realized that with their API, I could create a script to localize our site for different languages, and that's exactly what I did, and launched the site in like 10 different languages, and that would later on prove to be super useful. And that was because a streamer out of nowhere from Japan streamed our site to over like 60,000 people when a huge event in Japan was going on, and that crashed our site repeatedly. We had to do a whole bunch of stuff to like get the site back up for like a week, but eventually we fixed all the issues, and we were consistently getting a huge influx of users from all over the place, not just because the event was going on or the streamer was showing it, but because we got shown to a whole brand new audience that liked our site better than our competitors. And before that happened, we were probably doing maybe like 300,000 page views a month, but all the people from that got us up to an average of 500,000 page views a month. But on the days, like for example last week, when some of these streams are going on, we will get 300,000 page views just in the span of like 2 days from some of these events, putting us at like 1 million page views per month on special months where those types of events are going on. So yeah, this took almost 4 years, but it did not have to. The first mistake or thing that held us back was that me and my co-founder were pretty much doing this part-time. We both had full-time jobs, and we were looking at this as a side project. And even then, when we were working on it, we weren't always trying to get the site to be our main thing. We were working on our analytics analytics platform and trying to get more subscribers for it. So if we spent dedicated full-time hours just on the site, we probably could have reached those numbers a lot sooner. Secondly, we didn't prioritize getting our SEO done right properly at the beginning. If I had to go back over again, I would learn a bunch about SEO. You can get a ton of free information online. I'd recommend Ahrefs. They have an amazing YouTube channel, and they're actually the platform that we use to track our SEO. So I learned a bunch from their channel essentially, and pretty much did our SEO up after that. And the third thing, which is probably the most important, is that when we were working on the site, we weren't specifically trying to make things that would appeal to the grand majority of our audience. We were sort of making little niche features here and there that might appeal to like 5% of our audience, but the other 95% of the people already on the site didn't really care about it. And when you put a lot of time into features like that, it might benefit small pockets of users, but it's not going to do anything to exponentially increase your user count or keep your current users even happier and getting them to become repeat users of the website or look at more pages before they end up leaving the site. So focus on what the majority of people are looking for and making that experience really good instead of adding small little random features that you might think are cool, but the majority of the users might not think are very cool. So yeah, if we focus on those three things, I'm confident we could have gotten to these amount of page views within our first year of building. And in terms of money, you'll probably be surprised. 1 million page views a month isn't as much as you think. Now, keep in mind, these numbers are going to be super biased because we are in esports and we focus on Valorant, which has a pretty young target audience for their games. So naturally, most of these gamers are probably like 12 to 15-year-olds, and these guys are not paying a lot of money for any random services out there. So naturally, the advertising CPM, or cost per impression, is going to be pretty low. And ours was around 50 cents, which means for every 1,000 page views, we were getting around 50 cents back, which means on the most recent months where we have been hitting 1 million page views per month, we've only been making around $500 in ad revenue. And it's been such a low amount that we decided to pull ads off the site altogether because we found it just diminishes the actual quality and experience of our users to the point where $500 wasn't enough to sort of trade off with it. And we sort of just make money now based on our paid analytics service. And we have had good experiences working directly with advertisers. So for example, a company would approach us, ask us to advertise maybe their banner on our homepage, and we would put it up and they would pay like maybe $2,000 a month for it. But after like 4 or 5 months, they weren't seeing the results they were expecting and ended up pulling the ads. And that happened with maybe 4 or 5 different companies. But yeah, that journey is going to be very different depending on what you're trying to do with your business. If you're trying to just run a B2B SaaS or something, then obviously page views don't matter that much. My next business, which is Pandom.dev, is pretty much an on-call tool for engineers at companies. So we are targeting B2B enterprise companies. Page views aren't going to matter as much here. Sure, it's part of a sales funnel, but it's not sort of the lifeblood of the website as it was for my esports business. And over here, what matters a lot more is reaching key decision makers through outreach methods. And if we ever get popular enough to where people are going to the site and booking stuff and they've never heard of us before, that is great. But usually, if you look at a lot of Y Combinator startups in the past, you'll see that they never really reach that point until they're already sort of big. So that's not really a priority moving forward. And I'd only recommend focusing on page views and organic direct hits if you are trying to make a business that sort of depends on providing a service B2C to just regular people and you're not trying to sell to businesses. But yeah, hope you found value in that. Make sure you join our Tech Founder Discord. We have a whole Discord of tech founders coming together sharing resources. I also have some great resources on my mind map. You can check all of that out in the description below. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. It helps so much with the algorithm, and I'll see you guys in the next video.